Halt! Evil Slash! Destroy!
And now, X will be my next target.
And now, X will be my next target. Greetings, comrades, and hello everyone. I'm Quinn866. Welcome to me counting down my top 5 favorite nostalgic video game bosses and 5 not so favorite video game nostalgic bosses. So without time to waste, let's haste. Slash Man comes in at number 5. Not too much to say here, guys. He's just my favorite boss in Mega Man 7 specifically. At least of the 8 Robot Masters. But to be fair though, guys, he is also the hardest boss. Yes, even more so than Wily, I'd wager. For 2 reasons. 1, Wily has an easy exploit that can make him a pushover. If you just use Cloudman's weapon on him, it will interrupt his homing orb attack. Slash Man, however, he has a random attack pattern that doesn't have many exploits. So, forewarning. I like Slash Man though nonetheless, he's still a great boss. And I love his weapon, the Slash Claw is amazing. But nothing too special, it makes its way to number 5.
I've been waiting for you, Fox McCloud. Yeah! You may have returned the Spellstones, but the war is not over yet. Now you must face me.
Now, for those of you watching this, you're probably thinking, Quinn's gotta be kidding me, right? Well, no, I'm not. You see, even though this isn't necessarily the true final boss, I'm gonna be honest, guys. I would have preferred it if they made this fight the final boss. And I still consider it a boss considering how little bosses there are in Star Fox Adventures. I mean, there's only like 6, and this is one of them, making it 5, technically, because this isn't necessarily a fight. Because all you have to do is attack him once, and it's over. He can't hurt you, he won't do anything, he won't even hit you first. So that's a real problem. So much so, in fact, that someone teased by messing around in this fight by changing into a sharp claw. I was about to say shark tooth. I'm not watching Land Before Time, am I? Anyways, someone teased around in this fight and started using Fire Blast and all the other abilities that you could use against him to make this battle as long as possible, even though it's really short. I mean, I'm going to be honest, guys, this was a huge disappointment, considering that I wanted General Scales, this lizard guy who looks so much cooler than Andross, in my opinion, to be the final boss. But no. Unlike the Apoid Queen, where it worked pretty well, in my opinion, in Star Fox Assault, no. They had to bring out Andross out of bloody nowhere again. Again! I mean, I get it, he's kind of cooler to fight, but it's the same exact fight as he was in the other Star Fox games, and that bores the crap out of me. And what's worse is that Why did they have to replace this awesome lizard man named General Scales with the jackass Andross? And what's even worse is they could have made this guy into later Star Fox games, like Guard and Star Fox Zero. But no, the jackass Andross has to take the cake again. Such a disappointment. It's like Andross couldn't die, could he? The 1 or 3 games that Andross was in just wasn't enough, was it? I mean, yeah, he appeared in Star Fox 64 in the first 3 games, but come on, guys. Is Andross really supposed to be the only villain? And what's even more sad is that General Scales would have won. He would have won. Because he had the final spirit, and if Andross didn't exist, he would have won. But since Andross appears out of nowhere to be the final boss of this game, General Scales is forced to give up the spirit, making Fox have to fight Andross. So come on! And what's even worse is that General Scales doesn't appear in any later games. Like, what the heck? You could have put him in Star Fox Zero or Guard, but no! This is one of the biggest missed opportunities, a botched chance that Nintendo could have greatly capitalized off of. It's too bad they didn't. I'm sorry if I have to stop the video just to say this, guys, but even though Andross has had some cool battles, like, I love both of his battles in 64, and his battle in the original was pretty good too if you fought his true form, a decent challenge. But guys, let me be honest, I would have really loved to see why didn't they go anywhere with General Scales? It's such a bad thing. And I don't know what's worse. I don't know what's worse, guys, having Andross come again, or not using a character that could have been a great villain. And even though General Scales, you can argue, isn't that successful, well, yeah, sure, if you looked early in the footage, his own minions were cheering that Fox beat him once he gives up the Krazoa spirit. But even then, guys, he's certainly a lot cooler than a frickin' pig. I'm talking about you, Pigma. I mean, I swear, guys, I would have loved to see General Scales more than that jackass Pigma. Sorry if I'm cursing, but this is just something that's hugely disappointed me since I was very young. Now, believe it or not, guys, this boss used to scare me as a kid. I don't care the potential irony this may have, considering how much I love Patrick Star in the classic SpongeBob. But here, this robot Patrick Star boss fights used to scare me. Not only because you're in the industrial park, one of the more realistic looking areas in the SpongeBob area lineup, I guess I'm trying to say this in the cartoon, a lot of areas that used to scare me, like these specific places, like, even more than the gloomy kelp forest or the rock bottom or whatever, I always found the industrial park to be kind of scary. And considering they use that as this boss fights arena, I guess, it's kind of scary to see that they combine two scary things, because Robot Patrick himself is pretty scary too looking. I mean, yeah, he's kind of not too detailed here, but he certainly isn't as scary, at least in my opinion, as the one compared to the Game Boy Advance version. The Game Boy Advance version is scarier, in my honest opinion, but this one, however, is still scary enough that I can't say that it's not scary. Anyways, Robot Patrick is a pretty simple boss fight. You just avoid his attacks, you hit him in his weak spot, and most importantly, don't get hit. In this fight, if you get hit, it hurts a lot. Especially if you get frozen, because you're bound to get hit if he freezes you. However, the main problem here, guys, is the fact that I really actually had fun with this boss fight. Even though it scared me as a kid and I almost never would have played it again, this fight actually had some cool moments. Like, I liked being able to play as Sandy during a boss fight other than the Flying Dutchman. But it's just kind of sad, you know, how, like, I was scared of something so stupid. I don't know. I just kind of want to get that off my mind. But anyways, the hardest part of the fight definitely is when he makes the floor turn into acid. Like right here, for instance. I mean, it's not that hard as Sandy, because you can make platforms, but when you have to go back to SpongeBob when the floor is acid, that is when it becomes a problem. Mainly because, well, A, SpongeBob can't make the platforms appear, those little wooden boxes, and B, SpongeBob's Bubble Bowl does not, well, his projectile ability that you have at the time when fighting this boss does not go across the goo floor. Meaning if it touches the ground, it will stop. So you have to hit him while it's in midair, and since there's gravity on the Bubble Bowl, the name of the ability, it's a little bit harder to aim than it looks, especially when you have to stand on conveyor belts. And yeah, you can argue you can stand on a little grate thing there, but what's the likelihood that Robot Patrick is going to stand on that when he can face almost any direction? And if you just stand there, that just lowers your chances of getting him to face away from there. So technically, there's only so much you can do there. But again, that's not a huge problem. The biggest problem about this fight, though, is the fact that if you get hit, it resets his attack pattern. Meaning, he won't become vulnerable unless you avoid his attack pattern without taking damage. Small complaint, but hey, at least all the other bosses were like that too, so I guess it's not a huge issue. It just would have been better if they changed it up a little bit. Okay then, I guess you guys probably weren't expecting me to put one of my favorite games of all time on this list, but my favorite game of all time does have a really bad boss. The very first one, named Moz, the Elite or Golden Ninja. For starters, discover the simple yet disappointing reasons as to why Moz is bad. 1. You have a gun. 2. He has a claw, meaning you automatically have the advantage of this guy. And another thing is, he only takes 3 hits to kill. So you can just rapid fire at him and he'll die. Pushover of a first boss. However, though, this is made up by the other bosses, as explained in my video going into full detail about the game. But the bosses other than Moz were really difficult. But even so, that doesn't excuse the fact that Moz is a bad boss.
Be dead by now.
Smack.
Just give up!
Just me. This one's mine.
Now, even though I've stated before that Larxene is my favorite Organization 13 member, her fight was hit or miss for me. Both of them. And not just in Reach of Memories, even in Kingdom Hearts 2, I thought her battle was a bit of a miss. I mean, not because it's too difficult, and her data battle, while it is pretty challenging, I'm gonna be honest guys, it wasn't that fun in my opinion, because it didn't have anything unique about it. But in this game, Lexaeus, the rock guy, instead of the lightning girl, actually has a pretty decent idea for a fight. You see, unlike the other fights in this game that involve the card duel function in Riku's story, this one felt really good because it encouraged you to use the card duel abilities, and forced you once Lexaeus uses his third magic card, making him invincible, unless you do the card duel with him. Meaning, you're basically forced to play a different playstyle, and I like that. Because not only is it actually really fair, but it's actually kind of neat considering that it teaches the players new ways to use the combat. For instance, Braig, or the Xigbar in Terra's story of Birth by Sleep really taught me to block, and I like how this boss taught me how to use the card duel function, considering that I almost never used it up until this fight. And in the fight later on with Zexion. Too bad Zexion was a bit unfair. He would have made this list if you didn't have to kill him so quickly. But even so, I still think Lexaeus makes a good boss, and he is such a cool character. Not as much as Larxene in my opinion. In fact, I have a crush on Larxene if anything. Yeah, embarrassing quote, I know, yeah, blah blah freaking blah. I know it sounds weird that I have a crush on a weird kind of more bad acting girl named Larxene, but come come on, guys. Lexaeus doesn't have that much character because of how silent he is most of the time. But that's aside from the point. So, sorry Larxene, you would have made this list if your battle was just a bit more unique.
You're getting on my nerves!
Well, too bad, Lightning Dominatrix bitch, because you are not going to make any of my lists if you keep acting that way. At least to me. You can act that way to Sora, you can act that way to Riku, you can act that way to whoever you want. Even other Organization 13 members, even though they're your allies. But I would not have you treat me that way. Crush or not.
You're just a toy!
You think I'm a toy? What is Larxene now, a control freak? My god. Does she not even understand the point of a crush? I mean, I can understand why she'd want to have Marluxia, but come on! Is Marluxia really that good? He has pink hair, and yes, I admit, he is definitely by far the hardest battle in Kingdom Hearts Reach End Memories, at least his first phase. But even then, why would you want him, Larxene? I mean, I like Marluxia as a character, but I can't say I would, if I was a girl, I wouldn't even say I'd like him even then. So what's your point?
Boy, you're a lot of fun.
I'm sorry, Mistress Larxene.
I'm gonna break you!
Okay, fine. I get it, Mistress Larxene. You can hypnotize me and do whatever you want with me. Just stop humiliating me! I'm thinking, guys, maybe I should throw her off my crush list, because if she wants to take total control of my life, that's not okay with me. Oh, God. Okay, let's just move on. And on that topic of crushes...
Long time no see, treasure hunter. Did you find my emerald?
That's a good one. Your emerald. Talking to you is a waste of time.
Very well. If that's how you want to play, I will take it from you.
Now, this Batgirl, I don't know why I'd have a crush on a bat, guys, but I don't know why. I think it's maybe her voice. It might be her voice, but nevertheless. I'm gonna be honest, guys, Rouge the Bat is a disappointing fight, considering that she could have been played right, but no. They ruined her in Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, and even though Sonic Adventure 2 Battle is the fan-favorite Sonic game, I honestly don't like it, guys. It's not a good Sonic game. And what's worse is that everyone says that these fights are so good, they're some of the best Sonic fights. Look at this one. I can't even see where Rouge is. That's a real problem when you're trying to fight a boss and you don't even know where the boss is because of the weird camera angle for starters. And for enders, you got a ton of blending, you know, textures. It's the worst fight ever.
Get away from my emerald.
Now, for those of you saying that this game was disappointing, Watch Mojo, I'm looking in your direction. Screw off and die in a fire. This game is freaking amazing. I don't care what Watch Mojo says, I don't care what anyone says. This game is one of the best fighting, shooting, any type of game I've ever seen on the console. And what's even better is that it's in The Matrix, a great movie. Even though everyone prefers Path of Neo, I'm gonna be honest, guys, Path of Neo was harder to control, and that's a problem. I actually prefer this game over Path of Neo so much, I'd say. And that's mainly because of the controls. Path of Neo is so hard to control. This game felt good to control. And what's even better is that I just love the combat. The combat is fun, I love the guns, I love the fighting, I love the hand-to-hand, I love everything. And the focus meter is a lot better and easier to use in this game. And Trinity is easily my favorite fight. Mainly because this fight, even though you don't have to win, I do prefer to win because even though Trinity isn't necessarily trying to kill you, she is trying to test you, so in a sense, this is one of the better fights in the game, and I love the music. The music, my god. If you want to look it up, it's called something like Andy Hunter Go Enter the Matrix Edits, something like that. But the point is, this fight is really good. I love the setting, and it's the only place in the entire game, and the only time in the entire game, for that matter, that the Zen Garden world is used. Which is sad, because I would have loved to see them go somewhere at the Zen Garden. But even so, this is an awesome boss fight. Too bad they didn't use it for anything else. Like, I would have loved to fight like an Agent Smith in here or something. That would have been epic. But, that's a story for another time. Anyways, Trinity isn't too hard. She's a pretty fair fight, and what I love is just the fact that it's not necessarily that hard either. It's a fair fight. It's not easy, but it's not hard. Has the best location, the best music, and by far the best boss in Enter the Matrix. Other than Cujo and maybe Seraph, the final boss, or the Agent Smith chase, and maybe Vlad. I'm gonna be honest, guys. This is definitely the best fight out of all of those. In any Matrix game ever made, even in Path of Neo's Subway Showdown, this is my favorite Matrix video game boss fight. Hands down. So for those of you saying Agent Smith and Path of Neo and the Subway was better, well, that fight does let you play as Neo, yes, and it does let you use a gun, but I do prefer this fight because this fight felt more fair. I mean, the Path of Neo Agent Smith fight felt more cinematic than like interactive. And I prefer interactive over cinematic. So yeah, that's just me though, but what more can I say? I mean, just look at it, guys. They put some real effort into this game. The video quality is crap, I know, but you guys are just gonna have to deal with that. I'm sorry. Nonetheless, still an awesome fight with an awesome design, an awesome core mechanics, and most importantly, from an underrated game. I don't care what Watch Mojo says. Watch Mojo can die in a fire. I don't care. None of their opinions, minus a couple I agree with.
Damn, you are a good ghost.
You're not bad. Just a little distracted.
Yeah, I suppose so.
This is a game I hear almost no one talk about. It's basically Time Crisis with a better plot and a more developed, well, plot set. At least more than the original. You see, Time Crisis obviously has a better plot now, but Time Crisis, the original, had a very little plot design. This game, however, has a great plot, a great design, and most importantly, some great characters. Minus the inventor, who is the final boss. So not only is the climactic final battle of the game totally a disappointment, but this game could have been good if it just ended better. And this guy doesn't have a weapon like a gun or a rifle, no. He has a cane, like, plasma thing. I don't know what to call it. It is so weird, like, and this boss isn't even that hard either. It's such a disappointment. I spent literally so much time trying to come up with a script for this fight because there's just so little to say, and most importantly, this game is so underrated. Even though I do prefer, honestly, Time Crisis, this game could have been good if it just did one thing. Make the final boss better. And make some of the, well, core gameplay better. Like, for instance, there was this one glitch I saw in this exact video that I borrowed, and it's one of the weirdest glitches I've ever seen. So, to recap on Endgame, even though I have it in my library, and I think it is a decent game for the rail shooter category, I think I've proven my point as to why this climax is pretty disappointing. Let's move on to number 1 then.
Only you could have made it this far in one piece, Roxas.
That's really getting old.
Why? Who's sorry?
Different name, same fate.
Okay, for those of you saying Axel is the greatest Organization 13 member out there, guys, just because Axel is better than this guy doesn't mean that Saïx isn't good. Everyone says Saïx is the worst Organization 13 member, but guys, I'm gonna be honest with you. I love him as a character and as a boss. Not only because he has one of the strongest fights with a unique mechanic, aka the Berserk meter, and the fact that you need to constantly keep it down or keep him from filling it up. I feel like this fight gets an awful lot of hate just because Saïx is a jerk to Axel. Yeah, he's a jerk to Axel, but it doesn't make him as a boss bad. And this fight was actually pretty fair in my opinion. Definitely the most balanced fight. It's too bad, however, that I don't have the PS3 version, so I can't play as Data Battle. But if I did have the PS3 version, I'd play as Data Battle over and over just to get so much fun. Because I've had so much fun out of this fight. So much so that I've also made a character that has Saïx's Berserk meter as a staple, as one of his abilities. But that's aside from the point. Why does everyone hate Saïx? I may never know. But I want to say Saïx is one of the best bosses I've ever fought in any game, ever. Two words to this boss fight, and this entire game for that matter. Fuck off. This game, for the most part, it's a pretty rad game at the start, but at the end, and once you get to this boss, this game can fuck off. I'm not even joking, guys. I did not want to say that about this boss and this game, considering how many times I've tried it. But I've had a painstaking, traumatic childhood memory that stuck with me since the day I beat this boss. Even though I got through it, there's a reason why I still hate it. You see, me and my dad had constantly played this boss hoping to beat it, and we finally decided to do it together one day. We eventually did it once, and we're like, yes, but then we realized you had to do it again! So then we had to beat it a second time, and it was twice as obnoxious. But we eventually got through it, and then we finally never had to face this awful piece of shit of a boss ever again. But then when we got to Smokey the Dragon, the next boss, he was too hard. I mean, even though he wasn't as hard as this guy personally, I just didn't want to spend that much time fighting him, considering the facts that I had to fight this guy longer, and I was just worried as my young, oblivious childhood mind goes. So, I basically just used a cheat code, and then my game glitched out, reset all of my progress, corrupted my save data, and what's important, I had to do this all over again. And that's not even the worst part. It was all a glitch. All a corrupted save data glitch, and I had to fight him 4 times. It's too bad I didn't do that, because I probably would have had an even better rage story to tell, but this fight can die in a hole and light itself with propane. This fight is the one reason why I never liked this game. Because it just was too hard, it was too brutal, and most importantly, it wasn't fun. I don't care if you guys know easy ways to get through this fight, but bottom line is, this fight is too hard for the kids this game was generated at. And it makes sense that this game would be, hard at times, but not as the third boss. In fact, I wanted to actually see Wizpig, despite everyone saying he's a bad character. I wanted to fight him and teach him a lesson, But no, I couldn't do it because this stupid octopus kept blocking my progress. So yeah, that's a real problem when a boss before the final boss is even harder than the final boss. So that's just such a fuse lighter for me. It lights my fuse and blows up the bomb, leaving no trace of it to ever be sympathetically regained. So this is why this boss can die in a fire. It can be shrimp fried, cooked in a grill, and it can just be eaten by some homeless guy. I don't care. This fish of an octopus, Bubbler the Octopus, is hands down the worst, most infuriating, and most difficult boss I've ever faced. Now, I know there's plenty of people out there who find this boss to be not so hard now. Yeah, but for me, I can never get better at this fight. No matter what I do, even after developing skills after years, I can never beat this boss, and I will never try again. This game, while it's highly nostalgic for the first two worlds, the final world can go to hell. This is me being Quinn866. I hope this doesn't make any of you mad, but it's unfortunate for me to say this about such a great and underrated racing game. But if it didn't have these horrible bosses, I would have loved to play it more. Have a good one.